Hi, this is Frank here, wishing each of you a beautiful day. This is Good Morning Empire.
Good morning, Empire. Today is February the 7th of 2022, and it is your very first professional development day of the year. Good morning, Althea.
And good morning, Jen. I am so excited for today's Professional Development Day. It seems like forever since our last one in October, and so much has happened since then.
Absolutely. So first, I want to say Happy New Year to all of you, and thank you for attending our Professional Development Day today. And let's really think back to what did we have going on back in October?
Yes, so we were on location with Michael Rondinelli, and he visited several campuses and spent time in several classes and got to see some amazing activities that our educators are doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, and you know what else? I've been in schools recently and noticed how well our salon floors are running. They're very, very successful, which I know ties back to what we talked about in October as well.
Yes, I had an amazing time with Miss Larissa in the Wyoming Valley campus, sharing all of her tips and tricks for running a successful salon floor.
Absolutely. And then there was one other piece. I'm trying to think of what the other piece was.
Oh, Miss Sophia Garcia. That was an amazing success story, and she certainly touched on all of our hearts.
Oh my gosh, that was such a wonderful story. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me of that one. So let's jump into what we have planned for this year. It is 2022, which is definitely going to be the best year yet.
Yes.
Right? So for 2022, what we really wanted to bring you was things that you've asked for. And we're starting today off with technical demonstrations, technical skills that you've asked for that are specifically related to trends in the industry. We're also going to focus on many other things throughout the year. We will do some hands-on when possible, and we're hoping to get some of our vendors doing classes for you as well throughout the year. So stay tuned for the upcoming events. So Althea, share with us what's going to happen today.
Yes, so I'm so excited. So once again, we were on the road and we have some of our amazing educators doing special technical demonstrations, and we are excited to bring you those video demonstrations of their amazing skills from your peers.
That is so exciting. And I know that you guys are going to take a lot from your peers because they not only work for Empire, but they're still in the salons as well using these techniques. So let's jump right in, and we're going to go out to York, Pennsylvania and see what Bianca Jackson has going on for you. All right, you guys, today I'm here in York, Pennsylvania, and I have the pleasure of introducing Miss Bianca Jackson to you, who's going to talk to you about nails.
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here today. I have some exciting things to show you with nails, and I can't wait to get into it. Good afternoon, guys. I'm here today because this is what I love. I love nails. I love nails because it's an extension of me. I'm able to be creative through a wild and crazy side of me that I maybe don't get to do any other way, but I have some new and exciting things to show you today. We're going to talk about a corkscrew nail today. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I've been here at Empire for about 3 years. I've been doing nails for over 10 years now. I learned a lot while I was here in school at Empire, but also on my downtime, on my off time, and to keep my students interested, I am constantly on YouTube looking up different things. Instagram, I follow a lot of people on Instagram that show me a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things, and I take all of those things that I learned and bring them back here. And I'm so excited to show you what I have to offer. And on that note, let's get into it. Here I have a pre-done nail I did on myself using the OPI nail products that are included in the nail student kit, which had the time to dry and polymerize, which takes a little longer because of the product being odorless. In the classroom, you will be using the OPI Clarite Systems monomer and polymer, Bond-Aid, Bondex, and there is a curing resin which is used to help the acrylic get hard along with the ultraviolet light. You will also need your cuticle nippers, your nail tips, a straw, a pair of scissors, and nail glue. You will also want any enhancements like glitter or nail art. We're going to begin by attaching the straw to the nail tip. First, you want to buff the straw to give it a rough texture, and then you're going to apply the glue to the tip and place the straw onto the nail tip and allow it to dry. If you are practicing this and sometimes you don't have a hand to practice on, or you are using an orange wood stick with a nail tip, a really easy way to do it is to get yourself a hot glue gun, because a hot glue gun, the glue is a little bit thicker and it's going to allow your orange wood stick to kind of sit inside the well of your nail. Sometimes when you use just regular nail glue, it just takes a little longer for it to dry when you're doing it. Once the glue has dried, then you're going to consult with your client to see where or how long the client would like the corkscrew to be. Then you would take your scissors and you would cut that straw. Next, we're going to start by applying our acrylic bead. You're going to apply your acrylic bead starting onto the nail tip, and you're going to move forward to start to work your way around the straw. I usually work my way to the left and work the way around the straw, making sure that you have enough space in between your circles to go back in at a later date to file. You're going to continue until you get to the end of the straw, but making sure that as you're going around it, you're leaving enough space in between each rotation to be able to go in at a later date to file and make sure that everything is smooth. Once you've gotten to the end of your straw, you have the option to either leave it open or you can totally enclose it and make another circle. I guess that would be depending on what your client likes. After you've completed that step, then you would allow your acrylic to dry. So after you've allowed the acrylic to dry, and you'll know that your acrylic is dry by taking your cuticle pusher, or if you had another orange wood stick, and tapping on your corkscrew nail. If it makes a tapping noise or a clicking noise, then you'll know that it is hardened. If it doesn't, you won't really hear a sound at all, and you'll have to give it a little more time to let it dry. Once it is completely dry, you're again going to take your cuticle pusher and you're going to go in between each rotation on your corkscrew nail where you see your straw, and you're going to begin to loosen that up by just gently pushing down on it to loosen it up. Once you've gone through each segment and you've loosened it up, then you would take your cuticle nippers and you would make sure that it is loosened around the top part of the straw, and then you would attempt to pull it out slowly, making sure that it's not broken. In trying to get the straw out of your corkscrew, it is going to be a little bit of a challenge, so you're going to have a little bit of patience with this, and just know that it will eventually come out. Just take your time and be patient and just work it. You may need to wiggle it a little bit instead of just trying to pull it straight out, just to loosen it up in those spots that you weren't able to push with your cuticle pusher. So after you've removed the straw from your nail, then you're going to take your file and you're going to begin to file the nails. But before you do that, you're going to need to go in with your cuticle nippers and you're going to just clip off all the little excess acrylic that you see in between there. So that will allow you to be able to get your file in there a little bit better to smooth out those rough edges on your rotations. So I do have a hot tip for you guys. When you are doing your filing for your nails, sometimes the files that you guys get in your kits may be a little thick, or if you can't get the rotations around, they're not spread far apart. They have the emery boards that you can pick up fairly inexpensively. They're really thin and they really work well to get in there and help to get those edges smoother when you're filing. So once you've gone through and you've filed and you've gotten all of your rough edges, you have more of a foundation with it, and you have more to see where you may or you may not need to add more acrylic. You're going to go back in and add another layer of acrylic, and just allows you to strengthen up your nail to keep it from breaking. Once you've applied the second layer of acrylic, you're again going to let the acrylic dry. Using that same tapping motion will let you know if it's dry or if you need to let it sit for a little while longer. Once it's dry, you're going to go back in with your file again, and you're just going to file it, smooth everything out, make it look nice and neat. You're then going to take your buffer or your block, and you're just going to go in and go over the top of your nail, go around the edges and make sure that everything is smooth. Once you've done that, you want to clear all of the dust off of your nail and off of your hands. And you just want to take your clear polish, polish over it. And if you want to add any embellishments, any glitter, any rhinestones, there's flowers out there. There's so many different things that you can add to it. Let it dry, and you guys are finished. So now that you guys have learned this new and exciting way to do another form of an enhancement on a nail, which one of you guys is going to be the first to run back and take it to your school and teach all of your students?
Holy cow, that was so cool. Althea, what did you think?
Oh my. First of all, I love nails and I want a set of corkscrew nails for myself. So I may have to make a trip out to York.
I don't know. The only thing that concerns me is how in the world am I going to type with 10 corkscrews? But I'm willing to try it, that's for sure.
I didn't think about that, Jen. Well, I had the amazing pleasure of going to Center City, Philly, and working with Miss Brett Gray. She has some amazing balayage techniques. I can't wait for you to see these. Hi, it's Althea here, and I am at the Center City, Philadelphia location with Miss Brett Gray, one of our amazing educators, and she's going to talk a little bit about what she's going to do today. Miss Gray?
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm here just to talk about a new balayage technique just to keep your class engaged, a fun, upbeat thing. I know that things get a little tricky sometimes inside the classroom, but I just want to spruce it up for you so you can help to keep your students engaged as well. Hey everybody, I'm here getting ready to start my balayage technique. But first I want to give you a little bit of history about myself. Doing this technique, I've been in this industry about 20 some years, and I have been a salon owner for about 15 years. In my salon, I have done this technique numerous amounts of times. It has been at least 50% of me using color techniques in the salon. I find this technique to be so trendy. I find these techniques that I'm going to show you today with balayage very intriguing, uplifting, engaging. I've done it in pre-salon, senior, enrichments, wherever you feel like you need to find your niche at to perform these techniques, please do so. Let's get busy. Okay, so prior to the service, you will already have the mannequin chemically draped and already have her pre-parted out. We are not using a cape because I don't want that to get in the way of what I'm trying to show you as far as demonstrating the technique. I have used diagonal partings. I find that using diagonal partings gives you more versatility. It gives you more mobility with the color. So that way, either way that you go, the client will go to part the hair, they will see some form of color used. Moving forward, you would be using the Light Master volume that we usually use here. Also, I've used 20 volume. She doesn't want too much high level lift. We're just doing something very subtle, something that could be worn, you know, through business, office, more business setting than upbeat, okay? So I would start using light vertical strokes, right? Starting at the mid shaft, moving towards the ends. Just hand painting. Starting at the nape, and then I'm going to keep moving up this sub-parting. Just lightly, like I said, using mid feather-like strokes from the midsection to the ends, okay? You don't have to worry about this color bleeding because this great formulation that we use as far as the lighteners has like a thicker consistency, so it does stick to the hair pretty well. You don't have to worry about it running or dripping, as long as you mix the right consistency up. So moving forward, of course, you want to tell your students to move with a little speed because it is starting to oxidize as soon as you apply. We all know that. But if you keep your class situated behind you, you have them all gathered behind, they should be able to see your demonstration perfectly. Okay? Now, the only place that I am going to place foil is in between each subsection. So I'm going to just lay it on. No right, wrong, and indifferent. It's a fun thing, guys. It's great, a great technique also for my senior educators and for my enrichment educators. You might have a student that has a mannequin that might want to do some form of color correction. Perfect. We can go into it with this. Again, using light strokes, vertical strokes, diagonal partings. The partings is what's giving you the versatility for the style, the ending part. Again, light feather strokes. I've used it so many times, you know, just with certain people that may only want face framing, or just like maybe so like hairline, peekaboo. You could do all different things with it. Remember, balayage is the technique that we're using. Okay, it's your application that we're using, the way that we are applying the color. You can use balayage with lightener. You can use it with high definition color. It's no right or no wrong. Balayage is such a fun technique. Of course, during your consultation, you want to tell your students when they're doing their consultation, like, how do they want it? Do they want their color whispering at them? Do they want the color hollering at them? Like, what is it that they want? And then just go from there. Right now, I have a client that wants it hollering at them a little bit. I'm using heavier techniques, heavier application. However, the versatility is of the style that your client is going for. It's also great for your students because, you know, they are sometimes very nervous, very scared of color. And with our regular highlighting and slicing and weaving, they get very nervous. They're not sure if they're doing it correct. With this, it's an easier and more advanced. It's easier, but it's more advanced technique. Make sure you get underneath. So moving on to the last two sections of the head, I just want to talk to you a little bit, to my different educators that are out here watching. Sometimes we get a little stuck, like, which way should we go with this color thing? How should we teach them? So to my pre-salon educators, I definitely would teach them this at the end of your module, getting them more prepared to go to your senior level. Also, when you are teaching them this and you showing them a demonstration, let them get into the demo. Let them come up, see it, touch it, let them get involved in it. To my senior educators, definitely show them this within at least your first week of education, because they are going to be using this technique on the salon floor to service the clients. And to my enrichment educators, they should be doing this from day one to keep them engaged. We all know any enrichment educator, they're always looking for something new and innovative and fun to do. They love to use color. You could teach them this trick and also show them, along with actually doing the balayage technique, that they also will be doing toning. So you're showing them a double process as well. Fashion colors. They love to use fashion colors. We can apply this with everything. It's such a fun, engaging technique. Sometimes it's looked upon or looked past too much. A lot of people like to go into regular highlighting or whatever, but look, we could go heavy right here. We could do a little light down here. That's actually what I've done. You'll see the finished product. This business is forever changing, and we have to change with it. Sometimes it's hard to keep it going, but that's the sign of a great cosmetologist. Got to stay with the trends. Again, cover up your subsections, and now it's time to oxidize, processing time. So while waiting for the mannequin to process, we all know that our students love to get on the phone. So instead of telling them to put the phones away, have them pull the phones out and have them do a mirror image. Meaning, like, have them go on the internet and find a balayage technique that they would like to recreate. And while the mannequin is processing, you go around, see what they recreated, and that will be their project for the day. They've picked out their own work thanks to those good old phones that they pull out. Okay, I just want everybody to see how this process, it came up so beautiful. Those different highlights of blind running through. Now, my lady here was already previously colored, so her roots are a little bit darker. But the 20 volume that we use today also highlighted her more so to the mid shaft and the ends. As you can see, it just came out so nice. This could be fall, it could be summer color. It's just a fun, exciting thing. So what I'm about to do now is another balayage technique. I am using a more so heavier technique. It's going to give more versatility towards the top. I'm using weaving partings. As you can see, I still have the quadrants in 4, somewhat is weaving parting. Everything will be weaving. Your subsections, I'm going to use weaving parting. So now, starting off, I'm using the color comb, which has a longer metal point. We're just taking that metal point, pointing it to the scalp, gradually and smoothly creating a zigzag parting. Okay, you're gonna move up from the nape of the head, combing the hair down. You wanna make sure that hair is combed out. Switching from your comb, you're gonna go right into your applicator brush using heavier strokes. Remember last time we used lighter strokes. This time we're gonna use a little heavier, actually going in diagonal, a 1/4 inch away from the root, pulling it down through the shaft to the ends, okay? Moving up, remember, you could do the same parting with your applicator brush, heavier strokes. Remember, y'all, always keep building up their confidence. Color is so scary for them. Sometimes it's scary for us. But just keep the confidence rolling. Again, heavier strokes, moving up. So again, guys, you know how your students, they want to do everything. The first day, they want to do color correction. They want to do fashion color. They just want to get into it. And I get it. We get it. So I would just save this for those times when you want to pull a little trick out your sleeve, you know, a little method to your madness, as I call it. Just something fun and engaging for them to do. Moving forward, I'm still moving up. I'm talking, but I'm moving up because, you know, this color kind of moves fast with the oxidation. So we're still using those heavy applications, those heavy strokes. They more, of course, feather strokes, but we are still keeping it a 1/4 inch away from the scalp, moving down the shaft to the ends. So when you are teaching your class, of course they're going to want to know as they all know, or all want to know, what's in it for me? Where is this going to take me in my career? You could also tell them, you know, about the pricing. We all want to know about the money, the dollar sign of it. Also, you want to explain to them, this could be a fun, upbeat style from some. It also could be a style used in a business setting too. With this technique that I'm using now with the weaving, slicing, subparting, and all, once you move up, as I am, to the crown area, that's where you could do it more so heavy. Again, all of this is through consultation, depending on what kind of client that you have, is what kind of application we are going to give her. Make sure that you stress that to your students, because sometimes they just want to go in and they want to do it all, and that client may not be able to do that because of their job setting or what have you, or they just might not be ready to. They might be afraid of the color. Let them know when you explain to your students to explain to their clients, they can move all different kind of ways with this. With this technique, like I said, they can just do anything. You're going to have so many different color techniques that are shown, but this one, because it's hand painted, it's their creation, it just works. I would normally, and other balayage techniques, maybe put some foil over it, but I really need for this to oxidize. I want to see it. I want to see it move. It's heavier up in the crown area. This right here is going to be your wow factor. It's also going to look like almost like a sunset when I get finished doing my application. Now that I have applied it all, I'm going to lightly cover just around the hairline a tad. We don't want to have any chemical burn with our foil. We're going to let it oxidize, the manufacturer's processing time, of course, or, you know, to your desired level of lift. So now that the color has processed, look at the versatility. Look how beautiful this came out. More lighter towards the ends. It's just a nice contrast. She still has somewhat of a medium golden blonde root. I put some curls in to add for extra volume. You know, like again, blondes have more fun. So we just want to show the versatility, the color, the contrast of the whole color application. Some areas may seem darker than others, but that's what you get when you get balayage. It's more gradual, it's more trendy, it's more professional. I love this technique. I hope you find it fun and engaging for your class. Moving forward onto my last demo for the day, I chose a mannequin that was already pre-lightened. Now I want to go in with 10 volume and a HD red, and I also added in somewhat of a mixture. You know, we got to shake things up a little bit with the reds and introducing them to your students. I use 6RR, 7RV, and again, like I said, the HD red. What I did was I already pre-sectioned her out. I want to use the color block method. We often use that in class, especially in senior and enrichment level. So I've sectioned her already into 4. It's no right and no wrong. We're just doing straight slicing, subpartings, and I'm going to start. So now, moving forward, we are starting our application part. Like I said, I started off with slicing. I'm just moving this out the way so I can saturate the hair completely. We are going to move a 1/4 inch away from the root and go straight on down to the ends. Remember, I'm hitting heavy near the root area, and then I'm going to move with my heavy strokes down the mid-shaft to the ends. Make sure you saturate it all. Get that good red color in there. It's just going to be so beautiful and vibrant. I can't wait for you guys to see the finished outcome. Red is one of my favorite colors. I feel like that's a great daring color. Everybody not built for red, but these future professionals that we are creating is going to make these clients really embrace different colors. But it starts again with us educators. You know, we had to seem so engaged and really love what we do so they can love what they do. Remember, they mirror our image all the time. So if we're not loving it, they probably won't either. But you will, because color is always fun. I'm using heavier strokes, just going down over top of where I've already lightened. Like the foundation is pretty much already laid for you. Once you've already pre-lightened, you're just following what you already did. That's why I said just use the slicing techniques. Although we're using color block partings, we're using slicing sub-partings. And then balayage application. Remember, since you're using a different technique this time, color block and the slicing parting, you want to have your students come up. Make sure that they are paying attention. Make sure they're in it. They can see what you're doing. They can also engage in it. Have them bring up their applicator brushes, and maybe they could do a few pieces as you do a few pieces. You want to keep them engaged. You want to make them a part of the situation. They want to know what's in it for them. They want to know, like, wow, I helped my teacher achieve that look. Let's just say this mannequin gets displayed somewhere. You know, it could be the feature of the month. You could say you did this with your class. Everybody did it all together. The great old ice forum. You want to make sure that they're in it. They're engaged in it. This is all about, you know, when you come to cosmetology school, it's fun. It's fun, and you want to show them great trendy techniques along with being fun. Always remember, when your class is engaged and they are up and they're close to you, make sure that you let them know about color and how it oxidizes. As soon as you mix it, it needs to get applied on with speed, but also being neat, okay? Always make sure that you are clear with them and letting them know, hey, we got to move a little bit faster. What if this was a human? We got to make this color count. You want to have, you know, you're going to even explain to them about the lunchtime thing. Like the client might be coming in for a color application for lunch. We have to move. We definitely have to be mindful when the clients come in and they want color service during their lunch break. We still want to move in a timely fashion, but we want to keep it neat and clean at all times. Remember, it's red, HD red, stains a lot. We don't want to also cause any kind of chemical burn or anything with the product laying on the client. So we want to make sure that everything is kept neat and clean. Also, while the client is in the chair, you want to talk to them about maybe, well, having your students talk to them about, you know, upselling, the color safe shampoos. You want to also make sure that they are upselling conditioning treatments. You know, with this red, we got to keep it vibrant. So if there's so many shampoos, we already know as educators what's going to happen with the color. It's not going to be as vibrant. So you also always want to express to your students to have them come in and maybe for semi or demi application after so many shampoos. Have them rebook. So important. It's just helping your students build their book, keep the client, letting the client know that you do have somebody very professional working in their hair. And it's just something that us educators can be proud of. While your color is processing, you're going to have your class just do different things and talk to them about different things as far as a makeup application. Because she has a new look, you want to have a new, fresh makeup application. The old makeup may not go too well with the new red color. You want to keep everything vibrant. So there's also an upsell that you could teach your students to do, along with maybe a conditioning treatment, also a trim, having them have the client come back. Always make sure the client rebooks. When they rebook, make sure they refresh the look. So now, welcome back to the final part of this video. I am just so overwhelmed and blown away by this beautiful, radiant red color. Again, in the beginning, I talked to you guys about how I had pre-lightened the mannequin and it was just different tones of blonde, and now we picked up these beautiful tones of this radiant red, this HD red color, this red volume. I just love the way it just flows all together. If you look and see how it goes from maybe like how we applied it from 1/4 of an inch on down to the shaft, but it's still subtle. It's red, but it's very subtle. It's just a beautiful color. This is very, very engaging and enthusiastic to your students. They're going to love this because they just love different red tones. And just for us as educators to just shine bright and show our fancy skills off, and with the big outcome of what we have now, I just keep going through it, looking at it, because look how the tones just flow together. Thank you for coming along on this balayage journey with me. I hope you will be able to incorporate this in your pre-salon, senior, and enrichment classes.
So Jen, with spring right around the corner, I just may have to try one of those techniques myself.
The techniques looked easy, and the one thing that I really loved was the fact that she showed us how to use color, high definition color at that, to create these beautiful looks as well, instead of only having to use lightener.
Yes. And if you need future reference for these videos, they will be housed on Encores, and we will be sure to let you know where.
So let's take it out to our third video. We're going to go all the way to Manhattan for this one, and we're going to see what Kiara has in store for us. Hey everybody, we are here in Manhattan, and I have an extra special guest with me, Miss Kiara.
Thank you so much, Miss Jen. This is a great opportunity. Hi guys, this is Dr. Kiara Lynn Williams here with you from Manhattan Empire. And today we are going to do something special. It's very exciting. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, licensed cosmetology educator. I also have my master's and doctorate in professional cosmetology. And today we are going over the May. So get excited and get in tune. Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about hair cutting. Hair cutting is the way in which we remove length, bulk, and create style, okay? So in this style that we're going over today, it's called a hair trend. And this hair trend is the May. So in the May, today's lesson will be how to teach this style to the students and make it fun. So we're going to get into length, we're going to get into shears, we're going to get into angles. We're going to get into creativity. It's going to be awesome for us to figure out what creativity lies within our students' minds, hands, and eyes. So that way we can see how creative they can be with zeros, 45, 90s, and 180s. Right now we're working on the sectioning portion of the style. You're going to first start off by explaining to the students what the difference is on the eyebrow of point A, B, and C. They're going to need to use point B, which is the midsection of the eyebrow, to start the first point. So you're going to tell them to take the tip of their rat tail comb and point it at point B of the eyebrow. You're going to take the tip of your rat tail comb and slide past the parental ridge through the midsection down towards the nape to create your first size section. Once that section is parted, you can then braid the hair to keep it out the way, or you can clip the hair to keep it out the way. Once you finish your first side, then you can go to the other eye, and then I'm going to just repeat that on the other side. There are 4 main sections or cutting zones for the mohawk hair in the middle of the head, from the forehead to the nape. Zone 1 starts at the frontal hairline to the apex. Zone 2 starts from the apex to the crown. Zone 3 starts from the crown to the occipital bone. And Zone 4 starts from the occipital bone to the nape hairline area at the back of the head. Right now, we are in Zone 4 of the haircut, and we just dropped the back of it. In order for us to create the guideline, we're going to start on a 0, and we want to make sure that the hair is fully saturated during the duration of this cut. So I'm going to start the guideline. I'm going to take a little bit from the nape. I'm going to clip the rest of the hair out the way. Taking my shears, pinky on a tang, combing straight down to 0, cutting palm to palm. So now I have my guideline for the nape area. I'm going to continue cutting the nape area in zone 4 until we get back to zone 3. Using vertical parts, I'm going in on a 45. Vertical parts, 45. Sometimes the hair will get in the way, it's okay. Just reclip it out the way so you can continue on your section. I'm still cutting on a 45, using a traveling guideline. Making sure not to cut past my knuckle. And now our zone 4 is complete. We can now continue on to zone 3. And when I get to this section, I usually try to work with the students on understanding the importance of the traveling guideline, because you don't need to bring the hair that's all the way at the bottom up to here. You can start by taking just enough hair that's going to fit between your fingers so that way you're not cutting your knuckles. This is also a good time if you have to change your position to have the students come around you to look over your shoulder at what you're doing so they can see that the hair is dropped and you are still able to cut the hair that hasn't been cut. We're going to drop down another section within zone 3. That should be just enough. Now we're going to be slightly moving into a 90, coming straight out from where the hair is growing. Now we are done with section zone 3. We can start to see the graduation in the cut. You can use your comb to measure the angle of the 45. We just finished zone 4 and 3. We just dropped zone 2. Now at this point, we can show the students what happens when we cut hair. Since we started at the bottom with a 0-degree guideline and a 45 cut, when you hang over zone 2, the hair is longer than what's underneath, and it has no shape. It hasn't been cut yet. So now we can show the difference between cut hair and not cut hair, and what it will look like when the cut is incomplete. Now we're going to section out zone 2 so that way we can start cutting zone 2. We're going to take horizontal parts for the start, twisting the hair out the way, flicking the hair down, making sure that the hair is saturated as well. Saturation is important. And now we're going to be coming out from wherever the hair is growing on 90s using the guideline from zone 3. while you're cutting, it's good to keep an eye on your knuckle and make sure that you're not cutting past that knuckle to reach that guideline. Because now we're going to get to a point where we're going to start changing our hands because we're getting to the top of the mannequin. We're still going to be coming out on 90s, but it's going to be a little different. And also, depending on your height, you may need to adjust the mannequin stand so that way your hands aren't too high above the head of the client or the mannequin. So now that I'm adjusted, I can comfortably cut. Right now, I am cutting on a 90-degree elevation coming straight from where the hair is growing. So rather than cutting palm to palm, since I'm reaching the top of the mannequin's head, my palm of my left hand is going to be facing the back of the head, and my right cutting hand is going to face the back of my left hand. It won't be palm to palm. So right now, I'm cutting at a 90-degree elevation where the hair is coming straight from the scalp. You can show students what do you mean by a 90-degree elevation by taking your comb and pointing it directly where the hair is and lifting it up to show them where 90 would be for that section of the cut. So I'm here, my 90 is here, I'm cutting here. We're going to continue on 90s for this last drop. Vertical part, hair up, guide is right here. We're going to cut to the guide. Once again, section, hair up, guide is here, cut here. There's a little piece left. We can get that. It's okay. Come back to it and clean it up. We're almost finished. 90s. Straight out from where the hair is growing. And that is the end of zone 2. You can comb out the hair, fluff it out, take a step back, and put your comb to see the angle in which your hair is going. It's okay if you see any loose ends because you can always cross-check at the end of the cut. We finally made it to the top. And in this section, we're going to continue cutting at 90 degrees until we reach the front hairline of the mannequin. We're going to continue taking horizontal initial parts leading into vertical subsections. And like I said earlier, make sure the hair is saturated. So now that we're at the top of the head, coming straight up, still using the guideline, and getting that hair out the way. We're going to follow the same steps through the section at the top, zone 1, until all the hair is cut. At this point, when you were working with students, they could either sit down and look at you, or they can stand up and look above you, depending on their preference in the spacing. And you can also have some music playing, make it fun, and enjoying, because it's all the way up. And now you can also start thinking about how you may want to design the hair at the end. Just brainstorming while you're cutting. Have the students start thinking about, oh, how do you think you would style this haircut? Would you use rollers? Would you use perm rods? Would you do a finger wave? How would you create texture? Because now we're almost finished, and we have to style it. We have to figure that out. Now the guide is very important. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. Try not to cut into the guide if you can. All right. So now we're at the front hairline. We're going to do the final cut, still using vertical parts and the guideline from the section. You also want to show the students how to pivot the mannequin stand so that way they can angle it to have a better view of where they're cutting. So I just tilted mine so that way I can see on that side, still cutting on the 45. Cutting to the guideline, dropping the hair. Cutting to the guideline again, and dropping the hair. This is so much fun. Aren't you guys having fun? Got your Courtneys, your Angels out. Anybody got a Kyle? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. But we're almost there. Hang on in there. We're almost there. Okay, boom. The last section for the midsection. There it is. Bam, bam, bam. All right, so now zone 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been cut. I'm going to comb her out. At the end of this project, once the cut in the middle is finished, we started with a 0 guideline at the nape on a fresh angel. Then we graduated to a 45-degree cut in the back in the zone 4. Then we went into zone 3 on a 45 that graduated into a 90 that led to a 90 in zone 2 and 1. So it was 90, 90, 45, 45, 0. 90, 90, 45, 45, 0. Now that the mohawk section is complete, we need to make sure that this hair is secured, because in a disconnected cut, we want to make sure that the hair is isolated and won't be touched when we get to the sides. So now we're working on the sides of the hair. I released the braid that was on this side of the hair and I cut it down by 3 inches so we can get rid of the length, so we can get into the side cut. The first thing that I want to carve out is the sectioning of the ear to relieve the weight that's over the ear. So I'll section here, right above the ear. And we're going to carve around the length of the client's ear in an arc shape. So that way it's flush. Okay? From here, on an angle, we are going to take the point of the shears and graze. In the back, we're going to do the same thing. Give it that shape. All right. So now that we have the shape of where the hair is going to fall, we can continue to the next section of this side part. We're going to drop down. Clip that hair out the way. Get the rest of this section. And following the guide that we created, I usually start at the ear. Make sure the ear is taken out the way. And if this is a human, you want to put the ear down because you don't want to cut the ear. You always want to get the ear out the way, so bend the ear out the way. And we're going to take our shear and still graze that next section. And graze. Here, in our last section, we can leave a little bit more length because it'll be a little more tapered at the end. So on 45s, getting this hair out the way. We're going to take the hair on 45s and cut. So now we're on 45. Take another 45. Since I'm taking vertical, I started off on a horizontal, but when I came to the back, I started taking vertical parts. And because of that, it's gonna fall, not straight, but on an angle. It's gonna be on an angle. You can change your body. All right, so now we're coming back around our ear area. So you can take it out, still on 45. If you like that length, you can keep that length. If you want it shorter, you can go shorter. It's really up to you. I just know when I wear short hair, sometimes I don't like the hair that's right above my ear, in my ear. With the razor or even with your shears, now that you have it right in the back of the ear, holding the client's ear down, you can carve out where you can see the line of demarcation between the hair that was already cut underneath and the hair that wasn't cut to the length without the ear being moved out the way. You can also use your trimmers if you want to carve out length and bulk around the ear instead of using your shears, if that was something that you wanted to do. Now that we're going to keep a little length in the front of the head, we can go back using the guideline that we created from the beginning and using the point of the shears and carving out. Since we're going to leave a little hair in the front, we're going to slide cut. Okay? And by slide cutting, it'll allow us to remove bulk but keep length. Now, if the student wants to keep this length, they can. They can also cut it to where the ending of the ear is to give it a more pointed cut. I like mine a little tapered, so I'm gonna come in from the front too. Just keep slide cutting till I get it to a point to where I like the shape. If you need to add water, you can definitely add some water to the hair. I'm gonna go in and pretend that I'm holding the ear down just so I can get these hairs underneath. All right. If you see any type of disconnect, you can go back and take off more bulk or take off more length. So once you're satisfied with one side, you're going to repeat it on the other side. So that way both sides will be finished and we can start to style the mohawk. So we're now getting to the best part of the meme. We have finished the mohawk section and both of the sides. Both sides are now tapered in, where there's more weight and bulk at the top. We're going to get ready to start styling the hair, and this is when the students can get creative. They can either do finger waves, they can do pin curls. If they left a lot of length in the hair, they may be able to do braids, bantu knots, whatever they like. You can start to do it. But because she is short on the sides, we're going to bump her a little bit and give her some flips in the top. So as you can see, we have finished our cut and it has been styled. The sides have been tapered in and the mohawk has been curled. We use Sexy Hair hairspray and we also use Design Essentials wrapping lotion. Now, you can change how you do your style. It doesn't have to look like this. As long as the sides are in and the midsection is up, you have the meme, okay? So if you want to use braids, if you want to do finger waves, if you want to do curls, if you want to leave the rollers in the middle, it's up to you. It's up to you. It's your creative identity. But we chose to do a curl in the middle using a hot Marcel iron, and we blue dried the sides with a little bit of mousse to slick it down. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to us at kwilliams@empire.edu, and we will always be here for you at every time.
I had so much fun with Miss Kiara in Manhattan. The meme was absolutely gorgeous. Althea, what did you think?
I loved it. And can you imagine if Miss Gray's balayage techniques were paired with that haircut? That would be so beautiful. I also appreciated the fact that Miss Kiara used several different tools and talked about all of the disconnection.
I am in awe of the amount of talent that I saw on those videos. What do you think?
We really do have the best of the best.
We really do. I mean, if our educators, the rest of our educators, can take those techniques and spread that around to all of the students, can you imagine how those students are going to feel?
Yes. Watching those techniques makes me miss the classroom.
Oh, I know. I can't wait to go into a school and see some of these techniques being taught by our other educators that are equally as talented.
Don't forget, they will be on OnCourse for a resource, and we will let you know where they will be.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that came across from all three of our presenters was these techniques can be used in some form in your pre-salon classroom, in your salon floor demonstrations, or even on your enrichments when they're looking for something new and exciting.
And it's okay to tweak them and take these techniques and ideas and make it your own.
Absolutely. So I bet as we were going through these videos, some of you might have been thinking about your specialties and how you wouldn't mind having them shared with the rest of the field. Well, here's your opportunity. We would love to hear from you. Please reach out to educationteam@empire.edu and let us know what techniques you would like to present to your peers in potential upcoming professional development days. You can expect to see a survey come to your email box within the next day or so. We would absolutely love to hear your feedback on today's Professional Development Day.
Professional Development Days are so much fun, and we enjoy producing them for you. For those of you that this is your first Professional Development Day, I really hope you enjoyed it. I especially want to thank Bianca Jackson, Brett Gray, and Kiara Williams for sharing their skills and expertise with us. I look forward to seeing you for our next Professional Development Day in April. Until then, I'm Althea Hostler.
And I'm Jen Outlaw. From all of us, good morning, Empire.